All right. I would now like to introduce our second speaker, Tom S.
Thank you. I'm Tom. I'm an addict. And I don't know. I'll wait for the smokers to get back and then I'll get on a roll. Thanks, Rita. Rita wanted to go second, but I told her I'm a hard act to follow, so we'll see what happens. I'm grateful to be clean, to be asked to speak, because everything I am and have today is because of Narcotics Anonymous. No doubt about it. Everything. And the 12 steps working through Narcotics Anonymous. And without that, I don't know. But with that, I'm something else. I'm something else today because of the steps. I wanted to go second so my sponsor could get here on time. And John said front side only. So I'm going to show you my back. Hair by John Eaton. My hairdresser is there. When I was a kid, I had a Beatles haircut. I don't look that much different now, do I? And when I was a kid, I'll start with that, I just wanted to play baseball. And that's all I did. I played baseball all day. And I didn't like going home because there was addiction in the home. So I wouldn't go home. I wouldn't eat. I'd just play baseball. And one day I caught a Roger Marble fastball right in my eye. Gave me a black eye for 2 months. And I became afraid of the ball. And I couldn't play anymore. And I was crushed because I was the next Mickey Mantle, switch hitter and everything. But as a kid, I was a good kid, and I loved life, and I didn't have fear. I just ran around, and when I was smart enough in school, and I got good grades, and I was a good guy, and I was an athlete, and I did all that stuff, and I didn't change anything at home. And so one day I went to the pool hall and met the beautiful people like John, and they would. I just really loved them. The people I was supposed to stay away from, and I became one of them. One that you should stay away from. And I progressed really rapidly. And one thing that happened to me, I was 16, so it was the junior summer. So by the time I was 17, and in my senior year, I was fucked up fast. And I didn't go to school much. And I got in a car wreck. I bought my first car for $250. I'm old. I did take Quaaludes too. And, I can remember when we didn't even have announcements in meetings. That's how old I am. But anyway, this 55 Chevy two-door hardtop was a beauty, man. And there was a big party, and my mom had a dream, don't go to that party. You're going to end up all bloody. And I said, okay, I won't go. And I went. And I was so drunk and stuff that I was pole vaulting over poles, over cars at the Whiz Burger parking lot. Gas was 26 cents. So were cigarettes, and Whiz Burgers were 19 cents. But so my buddy decided to drive, and he wrecked my car in front of the steps in Milwaukee High School, where I went. I haven't gone too far. Traveled a long ways though. And I popped out of the car and busted my head open on the steps. I got 16 stitches down the back of my head. I had a skull fracture, a brain concussion, and possible brain damage. And my mom's dream had come true. So I took that possible brain damage. And I got to tell you, I had a lot of girls, and I had a lot going on and good grades. And from that wreck, from then on, I couldn't think right. I couldn't see good. I was bedridden for a couple months, and I couldn't talk to girls. And my life changed that day. And so it didn't keep me out of the service though. But I got brain damage. Who cares? And like I was damaged. And I bumped my head a lot more too. But what I realized in doing my inventories is it wasn't the car wreck. It was the quantity of weed and the Quaaludes and all the shit I was doing. That's why I changed, okay? And I immediately got in trouble. Within 3 years, I was in Rocky Butte Jail, and I had arrested on 22 felonies, and I was guilty of 20 of them. And I had a failure to report for induction, federal offense hanging over my head, too. And I'd done some bad things in 3 years of my using. Just that quick, progressed really fast. And I was in jail in 1969, and they made a deal to take me into the Marines, and I didn't go because I was afraid, and I wanted to pay for what I'd done, and I'd stole old ladies' purses, 18 counts, and then there was some other stuff too. And I felt really bad about ruining those ladies' lives, and I hated myself. I hated myself for that. And so I was going to stay in jail. And you know how I roll. I get lucky. I mean, I just spent the evening with a bunch of women here, me and all girls. That's how I go. And nice dinner and lots of fun and laughs. The girls are crazy. We were celebrating Suzanne's 6 years with cupcakes. And sorry. And so, where was I? Vietnam. I didn't go. Those girls would get you every time. So, okay, so I used for 15 more years, and I went to jail a bunch more times, and it got ugly, and I took a wife, and it got worse, and it got worse, and I started to lose the ability to feel and either laugh or cry. I was just using, I was just existing, and I had resistance. I had resistance to anything, and I had a lot of fear. And I didn't have it when I was a kid, but I have it now. You know, I'm using, I'm afraid. You know, well, I got a reason to be afraid. I owe people money. They're not nice guys. And I got court dates and shit happening, and I'm afraid, you know. But I can't stop. And so, I don't know what, I got in a lot of trouble in a week one time. A couple drunk drivings, a couple hit and runs, an attempt to elude, just a bad week. And just got caught that week and went to my first meeting in 1977. And it was an AA meeting, and it was a good meeting, but I knew I wasn't like them. And so a few years later, I'm in treatment, and I went to my first NA meeting in 1979, and I couldn't believe they didn't use anything. I just couldn't believe it. Denial had me, and I just couldn't believe it. So I didn't get clean right away, and Nancy and I had been married and used together for about 10 years, and we went to a meeting one night. She smoked a joint on the way to the meeting, and I didn't, because I was like, I'd wait till after the meeting. And that meeting, the guy says, why don't you try not using for 60 days? And I thought, wow, that sounds better than 90. And I said, okay, I'm going to try that. He says, you can always go back to what you're doing. And I made that commitment, and he asked, how's the wife doing? She said, I'm an addict too, and I need to quit. I'm like, wow. So that 60 days has turned into 27 years, 3 months and change or something. And because of the steps in Narcotics Anonymous, and I still have one more day than Nancy, because she smoked that joint on the way to the meeting. And it's very important. We divorced about 12 years ago, and we're still friends, and we talk all the time. And so anyway, I started going to meetings. I went to more meetings. I still go to a lot of meetings. Someone said, you're coming up on 10,000 days. I said, really? I bet I've been to over 9,000 meetings. So I do that. I go to meetings, and I stay in the parking lot. I talk to people. Just giving a newcomer a ride home last night, talking all the way home, reminding me of all the times I've given guys a ride home and talked to them. And I'm sure they got sick of me. I wouldn't let them out of the car sometimes. And I started doing H&I work as soon as I could at 6 months, and I got into jail early with the other program. I've been going to the same jail for over 26 years. I'm just there Tuesday night with Walter. Will and I go, and that was my home jail where I went the most. And so I like going there, and they let me out every time, and it's beautiful. And I used to go with my sponsor, Perry. And Perry wasn't able to stay clean, and he went out at 9 years and was shot and killed a few years later. And he still goes into that jail with me, if you know what I mean. I was going to speak here on the 17th of December, and my dad died on the 15th of December. I've got his ring on here. And you know, life happens. But I've been clean a long time, so a lot of life has happened to me. And what I realized is, you know, when stuff happens to you, I'm like, man, that's rough. That's too bad. But when it happens to me, there's a different perception about it. And I'm really cool with my dad. You know, they wanted me to write, get up and speak at the service, and I'd go, sure, you know, and I love a microphone, right? And I, for 3 weeks, couldn't think anything good about my dad. And I thought, something's wrong with me. I know there was good. And all I could remember was the beatings, and I just don't remember him coming to a game or telling, you know, and so I called Jackie, and he says, well, why don't you steal some poetry or something? Maybe you can read some poetry. That always works, you know. And I thought, wow, I'll write a poem, man. I'll write one. And I started writing, and it all came, and I just was flooded with tears, and I was screaming, Daddy, and I could, you know, I could remember him holding me, and what it must have been like for him to have a kid like me. You know, I mean, he was pretty bad, but I got even. You know, I did some shit, stole these coins, all kinds of stuff. So I read this poem at the service, and it was beautiful. And it was about a father and a son. And I talked about his drinking and my using, and how it must have been like, how he must have loved me, how he must have felt about me, and bailing me out and coming to the hospitals and getting me and reading about me and hearing about it and giving up on me. And in the end, we were together, and I was there. The whole family was there when he took his last breath, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And so, again, this happened, and I have a different perception about it. I had cancer, and I got a different perception about cancer. And then I really got sick and had tuberculosis. Whoa. And that one almost killed me. And I got a different perception about everything from that one. And then the cancer came back, and somewhere in there was that girl. And that was worse than any of them illnesses, I'm telling you. Well, actually, and I was telling Shannon this tonight, that because I'd been sick so long, I had a fever for 4 months, and it was really high, and I just couldn't function, and I had the love of the people in the fellowship. Dan did my dishes and vacuumed for me, and I had that love to support me, but I also became very depressed being that sick that long, and now I know depression. And when you come to me and you're depressed, I know. I couldn't take the next breath. I wanted to walk out in front of a car. And I had all this love and all these people, and I wanted to die. And I know depression. And now I know obsession. I was a crazy man. Crazy. Every lady at every Starbucks knew about that girl and me. But at the same time, it forced me to seek a spiritual solution, which everything that happens to me does if I'm paying attention. The thing about when it happens to me, I'm driving today, and these guys are all out on their bicycles, right? They're in my way, and they're slowing me down. I I got nowhere to go really, but I'm in a hurry. And they just piss me off. Now, I ride a motorcycle, and and we're all, hey, to the bikes when you, and so that's cool. But I suppose if I rode a bicycle, I'd have a different perception on them cars trying to run me down like I will. You see, so it's all about perception, isn't it? So when I was sick and I thought I was going to die and I had a prayer, I just wanted more time to learn more about love. That's all. That was my prayer. Bam, they take a biopsy out of my neck. It's not what they thought. It's TB. I got more time. And so it's been all about love ever since, the last 5 years. So bear with me on this stuff. It's about the energy of love coming in me and through me. And it's who I really am. I'm all about the love. The authentic divine love that has no opposite. It's not love hurt, not love jealousy, love anger. It's just love. It's the only thing that's real. And that's what I found. That's what I read about. I run into people who are doing all that. And I have just become this giver of love. And it's beautiful because the more I give, the more I get. Jackie called me and said, you got to talk about self-love. I go, I'm gonna. Because pain or fear or the energy of fear and thinking and obsessive thinking and all of that, what if, and none of that is in the now. None of, just for today. So that the present moment awareness is the key for me. About 5-6 years ago, actually, John asked Dan, he said, do you meditate? And he's going, well, no. And he goes, well, then you ain't working the 11th step. And I heard that. So I started meditating. I've been meditating pretty much every day for 5 years. And look at me now. Not beautiful, huh? I mean, I feel good. And I have more love and less fear. I have peace, joy, love, and wisdom, actually. I actually can say more with less words, if anybody can believe that. And I'm growing spiritually. I'm growing. My mind is sharper. My golf is better. My life is good, man, because of the 11th step. Actually, Jackie got me started on that too, because I was obsessed and crazy, and he sure heard about it. And he got me reading the 11th step every day and living and I've been living in the 11th step for 5 years. And I love 10, 11, and 12. I'm not wrong that often because I don't like being wrong. I don't like making mistakes, and I don't have to be right. But I'm going to make mistakes. I do that. So the 10th step, right away, promptly admit. And the 11th step is seeking through prayer and meditation to improve this contact with God as I understand Him, and praying for only knowledge of His will for me. That's a beautiful thing, and the power to carry that out. I'm going to Bandon Dunes for a big golf tournament on Monday. I'm living the dream. But see, I'm taking a newcomer with me. I got a captive audience for 3 days and 3 nights. That guy had no idea. No idea. He thinks I'm cool. I'm going to talk to him. And that's the 12th step right there. So is it my will? Is it God's will? I play golf. I'm going to the tournament just because I can, but God sends me a newcomer. Keep me going. So I can give and not give to me. That's where that self-love comes in. If I'm giving something, say, to a girl, this is actually true. and expecting to dazzle her or impress her or have her give me something back just because I'm giving her something, that's not the right kind of giving I need to be doing. I just need to be me. And that's enough. And so my giving is about love, okay? And so I don't have any attachments to it. There's no conditions on it. It's just love. And when I can do that, I'm free then also to do whatever I want, pretty much whenever I want. See, if I had a girlfriend, I couldn't just go to the golf tournament, right? I'd have to run it by her. So I'm free, got a lot of freedom. And so I'm free to do what I want, my will, tempered with doing God's will at the same time. It really has become the same for me. And that fear-based thinking or that fearful energy eventually has to come and join in with the, am I doing this? With the love energy. With the love energy. The energy of love is powerful. It's even in the book. It's, wow. It sort of trumps out that fear, that pain, that misery, that negative thinking. Real, authentic, divine love. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm about, is giving love. And I'm listening to myself. That's kind of weird. And I sound a bit cocky. But it's not that. It's confidence. It's reliance on something greater than me. It's, here it is. As we become more God-reliant and gain more self-respect, we realize that we don't need to feel superior or inferior to anyone. Our real value is in being ourselves. I was a loser, John. Scumbag. Worthless. My value is in being myself. My stuff that I did, my life in shooting galleries and dope houses and taverns and stuff, and jail, I thought it was a waste. No. You can't fool a fool. You can't tell me something pretty much that I haven't done. I've heard a lot of fifth steps. Only one really weird thing that I haven't done. Can't even mention that. So I had mentioned ego. Our egos, once so large and dominant, now take a back seat because we are in harmony with a loving God. Harmony with a loving God. Humility, harmony. Well, tell that to the guys down at that track house. We find that we lead richer, happier, and much fuller lives when we lose self-will. Self-will becomes self-love. We become able to make wise and loving decisions based on principles and ideals that have real value in our lives. Real value in our lives. Principles, real value. Wow. By shaping our thoughts with spiritual ideals, we are free to become who we want to be. I love everything about me. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm free to be me. Free to be what we want to be. I'm a golf champion, you know? I ride that bike like I'm cool. What we had feared, and she knows I'm not. What we had feared, fear, there it is. Ego, fear. What we had feared, we can now overcome through our dependence on a loving God. Dependence on a loving God. Free from fear. Free from fear. And here it is. I got to speak at the World Convention. And here was my topic. I did not talk about this at all. Faith has replaced our fear and given us freedom from ourselves. Faith has replaced our fear and given us freedom from ourselves. Freedom from all that self-thinking. Now, since then, since I talked about that girl at the World Convention, instead of my topic, It's become my way of life. Funny how that works. Faith has replaced our fear. In recovery, we also strive for gratitude. I'm grateful. Totally grateful for ongoing God consciousness. Ongoing God consciousness. Spiritual giant, right, Jackie? Whenever we confront a difficulty that we do not think we can handle, we ask God to do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. I got help. I got helpers. Powerful help, right? A spiritual awakening is an ongoing process. We experience a wider view of reality as we grow spiritually. This is in More Will Be Revealed, page 101 of the other one. We experience a wider view of reality as we grow spiritually. My whole world has changed since I meditate. My mind sees things differently. I see beauty in everything. I can feel the energy, the pulse of it. Now I'm getting a little weird. An opening of our minds to new spiritual and physical experiences is the key to better awareness. I just described that, didn't I? Opening of our minds. As we grow spiritually, we become attuned to our feelings and our purpose in life. What's my purpose in life? Is to help people, to serve, to love, to give. I wasn't spared. I should have died many more times in car wrecks and ODs and stuff. I've been spared so I can help. Came here to help. Wow. A loser becomes a winner. By loving ourselves, there it is. By loving ourselves, we become able to truly love others. I love you guys. I knew who that was. This is a spiritual awakening that comes as a result of living the program. So if you're just hanging out, just being clean, keep coming back and get spiritual. Do the steps. Get that sponsor and call them. What was that one again? Man. This is a spiritual awakening that comes as a result of living this program. We find ourselves daring to care and love, like having a weird haircut. Daring to care and love. Higher mental and emotional functions such as conscious and the ability to love were sharply affected by our drug use. No, I couldn't feel. Living skills were reduced to the animal level. Our spirit was broken. The capacity to feel human was lost. This seems extreme, but many of us have been in this state. So, we become increasingly open-minded, open to new ideas in all areas of our lives. I'm willing to risk and do anything but maybe jump out of an airplane. You know, I shouldn't have said that. Through active listening, we hear things that work for us. So that's what I do. I'm a better listener. And I can hear things that'll work for me from the people that are right here. Without this support group that I have, I wouldn't have been able to make it through all that tough stuff or all the good stuff or any stuff. I need you guys. And it's really nice to have all the love that I get from giving. The ability to listen is a gift and grows as we grow spiritually. See, I'm a better listener. I'm spiritual. Life takes on a new meaning when we open ourselves to this gift. In order to receive, we must be willing to give. Simple. And, you know, it's easy. There's nothing better than to see somebody come in here beaten and get to be a part of them growing up, and the lights come on in them, and seeing them start to live and change and laugh and love. There's nothing better, man. I was with a kid last night. I love this kid. He had about 5 years. He went out. He's back. I love that guy. As we look back, We are grateful for our new life. It is so unlike the events that brought us here. But I'm still an addict. I can still go get a tooth pulled or something and take too many, you know. The resistance to get involved will keep me from finding all the gifts that we can have. And so I've got to let go of that ego, that resistance, and let spirituality enable us to live life to the fullest. It enables us to live life to the fullest, feeling grateful for who we are and for what we have done in life. Since the beginning of our recovery, we have found that joy doesn't come from material things, but from within ourselves. We find that when we lose self-obsession, we are able to understand what it means to be happy, joyous, and free. Indescribable joy comes from sharing from the heart. We no longer need to lie to gain acceptance. Thank you.
All right, can someone please come to the podium and read just for today?
Hi, I'm Tim and I'm an addict. Just for today, tell yourself, just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who